Holy shit. That was an incredible game. I can't even believe I went from as dejected as you could be to being as elated as you can be in probably the moment of 30 seconds. But we're going to get into all that. UConn survives Temple. I don't even have the right scoreboard on right now. I'm going to put it on right now, and then we're going to get into this show. Holy cow. I'm so frazzled by all of this. We're live. Look, there it is. UConn 29, Temple 20. Guess what? You're locked on UConn.
You are Locked On UConn, your daily podcast on the UConn Huskies, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Yeah, I think we should just sit here in stunned silence after that game for a second. But UConn 29, Temple 20. Like I said, forgive me for the cold open. I wanted to get out here as quickly as possible. But man, what a freaking game. I have to say this because I had all of this stuff planned because I truly felt, and I will be 100% honest with you guys, I truly felt we were going to lose that game. So I went into this thinking I'm going to have to come in here and go, after all of this hype, not even hype, but after all of this like substance that we saw, the offense, you know, the running backs, everything that we talked about all last week would be essentially for naught, because that's kind of like the way college football is. It's not like college basketball where, you know, there's been plenty of championships where UConn has looked like, you know, dog shit for lack of a better word, to then all of a sudden being an elite program and getting hot at the end of the year. I mean, let's face it, the Kemba Walker team that won the national championship was 9th in the Big East, albeit ranked 25th in the country. So the college football landscape is so much different that when you have a game where you play a Temple team that hasn't won a road game since 2021, we were still dealing with remnants of the pandemic since the last time that Temple football has won a road game at Akron. For them to come in here and take it to us the way they did for kind of relatively 2.5 or 3 quarters, because I felt like UConn played some good football for stretches, and it actually looked pretty good at the beginning. I just thought the breaks weren't, listen, Temple kicked a 60-yard field goal. I was making dinner for my family, and when that happened, I looked at my wife and I said, there is absolutely no way this team is winning. College kickers don't make 60-yard field goals, never mind Temple kickers. So I had the hardest time with this game. It was frustrating as all hell, but in the end, a win's a win. Let's bring in, I haven't talked to Kyle in a while. I'm going to bring in my guy, Kyle Bergstrom. He's our correspondent. Locked on UConn student correspondent. Dude, what a game. What
an ending, man. Oh, my goodness. Like, that's unbelievable.
I was shocked. Like, forget about the running, the cherry on top is them taking it back for a touchdown. Mm-hmm. The stop is where it's at. I mean, did you have faith that they were going to make that stop? I thought the defense was gassed.
I mean, I was at the game for the first half. I left around halftime with my brother, and we were watching the game here, and I was like, we just got that stop. It came down to 4th down. I was like, let's stuff them here, and we win this game. I didn't expect the fumble. I didn't expect him to take it back for a touchdown. That's just the cherry on top. Like you said, we got the stop, and then I saw the ball come out. I didn't see him even take it back for a touchdown. I had sprinted out of my room and booked it down the hallway. I was pumped. I was so excited. Like, UConn football's back.
Listen, I tweeted this out. I'm so happy we won, and we're 4-2. There's no conference record, so just 4-2 as an independent. Right. But I would quell the we're back stuff.
Yeah, I get it.
I don't know if we are. Like,
no,
it's so hard.
Yeah, right.
But isn't it so hard to read? Like, think about it. It's so hard to read if this team is truly back. Like, because here's the thing. The thing that bothers me is that, like, and I said that again, my wife is a huge college football fan. So, like, I love talking to her about this stuff because she's like, oh, wow, UConn's 4-2. she's an SEC gal. She's a Tennessee fan. She's watched them win national championships in her lifetime. So she knows good football when she sees it. So like my whole thing is like has nothing to do with that, but the idea of UConn even coming close to losing to Temple is a problem.
I get
it. Just is. Like I made a tweet.
The crowd today especially, like I feel like it was a pretty good crowd.
There was more people there than ever.
I feel like there was way more people there than I've ever seen it before, and I feel like I don't know, like only kicking field goals in the first half. I mean, you can't do that in front of the home crowd.
Listen, I will put a couple of caveats out there that I felt like this officiating crew was terrible. Like for example, that first drive, they essentially got a first down that they marked short for no reason. But I'm going to pause there because let me tell you something. And I've been very complimentary of this coaching staff for obvious reasons. They've deserved their flowers over the last few weeks. But this is a moment where Jim Mora's got to like almost call a timeout and say, absolutely not. That was a first down. You're going to go look at this, and I'm going to show you that Cam Robinson was past the line of game because he was. And
he was.
When you don't do that, you set your team back. So like that, I had such an issue with that from the start. Those are all momentum things, and with this UConn program, I just feel like you can't take those things for granted. Like
especially we had a momentum going into this game too, and when stuff like that happens, you kind of like it takes you a step back off your momentum. And I still feel like even though there was a great crowd today, I just like stuff like that happens, and it kind of knocks you off your game for at least the rest of the quarter, and you're kind of, at least for me, that's kind of how it felt. But
without a doubt, and all of it gets erased because the reality is there's no RPI anymore. There's no like, I don't know if UConn is going to be sniffing the college football playoff, even if they win out. So like, it doesn't matter. What matters is the trajectory of this season and what that means for the team going forward. And honestly, it doesn't even matter for that. What matters is the next game. And I felt like, and I'm going to say that now because I felt like the defense did their part, but the offense was atrocious under Joey Fagnano. And
it was terrible today. Though, like the first half, we couldn't complete a single pass. I was sitting there. We had Cam Edwards wide open twice. He dropped the ball twice. That's not even on Fagnano. I mean, a couple of the balls were definitely on him. Like we were in the red zone, and I don't know who he was throwing it to in the end zone.
Skylar Bell.
Yeah.
The slip to Skylar, like I think it was on 3rd and goal where he kind of slipped under, and it was like a little throw underneath, and it was a little high. But I mean, you gotta come down with that. But listen, if Joey Fagnano has been, I'm gonna give Joey a pass because
that's fair.
Two things. One, he's come into games this year when he's either started a game against Merrimack or come into games where we're either way out of it against Maryland. So it was just about kind of don't get injured, just run the offense. And then in the game against Buffalo, it was just like, all right, we're up. This team is basically not very good. Let's just kind of keep the momentum going. So he was able to kind of maintain that and had a solid game. So there hasn't been a time where you've seen him struggle. I think what Temple really did was key in on the fact that they knew that he wasn't going to be able to run the ball the way Nick Evers can, and essentially bring 7 or 8 guys in the box. And what they showed is that if you do that against UConn with Joey Fagnano at the quarterback position, that essentially you can stop them. Because as good as Skylar Bell is, and how awesome was TJ Sheffield today, if you have a one-dimensional offense, even a crappy defense like Temple can stop you. So that's what that showed me. And I think the people who have been shitting on Nick Evers for not being able to run the offense like a traditional quarterback, whatever the hell that means, need to kind of take a look at this game and say, if Nick Evers is in this game, they win this game by 20 or 30 points. Because the ability to run the ball as a quarterback doesn't allow a defense to kind of put 7 or 8 guys in the box because he can do either or. And Joey just can't. And that's just the bottom line. That's the a total of nuts and bolts of this game. He's a good backup quarterback. He's a good game manager. I think he did a good job today. Had some flashes, and got to give him some credit in that last drive, that scramble and that throw to Buckman.
Absolutely, beautiful. I mean,
So
awesome.
let's look. I'm gonna look at some of the chat here. Let's see what the folks are saying. Go back to the beginning. I got Ray, who's a big fan. Wow, that's 100% how I felt the last game. This game is still humbling one, and this is something I totally agree with Ray. You are so spot on. It's a humbling one for UConn because, and I'm going to show you because I put some notes down and I'm going to make sure they get transferred because I'm on my desktop and I don't think I did this yet. Actually, I did. So let's do this. I'm going to look at this. As I said, this team the Temple team has not won a game outside of their home in 1,100 days. A win's a win. Fantastic. We focus on the positive. But it's Temple, guys. Like, let's just be clear. It just is. I feel like when you have a game like this, when you have momentum and this team is grooving and really kind of moving on as a program, it really shows pro, like independent, like MAC, or let's go back to 1AA type mentality that we shouldn't have as a program. And a win like this is encouraging because it's encouraging to those folks because it's like, oh, you beat Temple by 3 and they almost had a chance to score to win the game. When you beat up Buffalo by 50 points, that turns some heads because it's like, oh, okay. I mean, that's legit. Oh, we got a special guest. Let's get Big Larry in.
Yeah, boys.
Where are you?
Never
are you
a doubt. Never a doubt.
You are? Dude, never a doubt. Come on, man. Let's go.
Never a doubt. We always had that game won.
Absolutely. It was always UConn's game.
It was always UConn.
Oh my God. I love you guys. I love both of you, but that game was so far in doubt that I can't even begin to tell you. My children started looking at me like, is Dad gonna like hurt somebody tonight? Like I was like literally looking at the television like, you could not be serious playing this poorly against Temple. Let me ask you both this question really quick, because we're so quick to blame the quarterback with any football game, and I don't think Joey played great, but I made a tweet and it was meant to be funny, and I think it was. If people didn't like it, whatever. I said, did our offensive line have a outing with James Vanderbeek, Cheshire native, at a strip club last night, and we're out till like 4 a.m? Because this Temple team has given up 260 yards a game on average. Mm-hmm. So much so that Army threw the ball 5 times and won a game against them because they had 450 yards rushing. What was up with this offensive line today? Like, that was my biggest issue, is like Joey Faiano looked like shit because the offensive line couldn't push anything. Anybody got an answer for me?
I mean, I thought they got bullied at the line a little bit, but I also thought the play calling was a little bit, I don't know, it was a little bit less than desirable for me, but I definitely think they got bullied at the line today.
I mean, without a doubt. I mean, I agree with you, Larry, like in terms of like when you don't have a quarterback that can run, the stretch run when there's no threat of play action on the backside is a little bit, it's a little telling what you're going to do. And unless you block it perfect, I would love to have seen them do a couple of rollouts with Joey just to kind of like throw them off a little bit. But and honestly, that's why I've given Gordon Samus and Matt Brock their love, and Matt still gets it because their defense played great. But Gordon gets a little bit of a demerit because I felt like today he didn't adjust to what Temple was doing. What do you guys think?
I totally agree. I as much as I love the play call in the last couple of games, I did not enjoy it today. I'll just say that.
That's the most politically correct comment I've ever heard you say in the time I've known you. I didn't enjoy his play calling today. That's fantastic. By the way, if you didn't know, Alabama lost.
Did Alabama lose? I didn't see that.
Yep, that's the word. Mark Sicuso, just giving us the SportsCenter update. I also feel pretty good about this. Mark also says, good name, by the way. We're on to next week, but teams that win like this are back. And you know what? They are. All right, so let's do this. Larry, we got your tickets for Wake Forest next week while you're on the phone. I'm going to put out a little tweet right now while we're on live. If anybody wants to be involved in the ticket giveaway, Kyle, you are actually involved because you were involved last week, so you are in the drawing. So even though you're live with us, you still count. I'm going to put it in the chat. If you want tickets to Wake Forest next week, speak now or forever hold your peace.
I will be at that game regardless. So,
well, then you're out.
All right, fair enough. I get the tickets. I get the tickets from UConn. I got out the free student ticket one. So,
hey, Larry, let me ask you a question.
What's that?
Are you outside with Hurley Dog right now?
I am. Yeah.
All right. What rap song would this game be about? Like, if you had to pick one song, because that's how you do it with your walks with him.
That's a tough one. Let me take that out real quick. I got it. Okay. I got it. I left my wallet in El Segundo.
I love it. I absolutely love that. That's some really great recall, Larry. I love that you did that.
Yeah, because it's like it was like a drunk night out where you're like, what the fuck just happened, and then somehow it all works out.
I mean,
pardon my language.
No, you're fine. We're live. There's no ads. There's no restrictions on these types of shows. At least I don't think there are. So if I get pulled off the air, I will make sure I come for you. But no. By the way, guys, I am actually thinking that this is good for them going forward because it's a wake up call if they win this game. Like I told everybody to, and I you know what, I actually feel responsible, like that people actually took my advice and threw like thousands of dollars on this game at minus 17, and they lost this game from a betting perspective, and that's kind of where I feel responsible, and that's kind of where I feel kind of shitty. But I actually feel like the fact that they squeaked by this game, that the Wake Forest game is all but a lock. Your thoughts?
I don't know about that. Wake Forest won today.
I don't know, man. Like it kind of reinvigorating and like and kind of show that this team isn't as good as everyone says. Like this is a coach's dream. You know, Jim Mora right now is in the perfect situation. You win the game, you played like shit. Your offense played like dog shit. You probably have Nick Evers coming back, and then you have Joey as a backup, and now you can have the opportunity to kind of lay into this team for a week and then have the type of opportunity against, Wake Forest to get an ACC scout.
I agree. I mean, a lot of times a humbling game like this will be just what you need.
I love it. All right, Kyle, Larry, I love you both. I'm going to drop you both, and I'm going to bring in Greg Davis from Sons of Nutmeg because I want to hear his perspective. I love you both. I will talk to you this week.
Sounds
Larry,
good.
I'm going to give away your tickets, and thank you again for the donation. You're the best.
No worries. What's up, Kyle?
All right, guys. Oh, it's Greg
Mark?
Davis. What's up, Sons of Nutmeg?
Coming to you live from the rent.
Thanks, man. I love it.
How are you?
I'm great, man. It's we've been just talking about. I had Larry on, who gives away the tickets every week. I had
Awesome.
Kyle, who's my kind of student correspondent, who was at the game for a little bit today. And I don't know, man. I want to hear your perspective because I basically said when the show started that game went from I'm the most frustrated I've ever been to
Absolutely.
There's no restrictions on this show. There's a live show to like, holy shit, I can't believe we won that game. So what are your thoughts?
Yeah, same way. I mean, it was the most insane ending of any game I've ever seen here. Absolutely. I mean, hands down. I thought we were going to, for sure, they're going to score. We were going to lose the game. There's no time left. I mean, for the defense to show up and stop like that. First of all, the defense played lights out all day.
Absolutely.
I think they got tired at the end and worn down. And then for them to show up and stop like that, that's number one. Number two, I will say the crowd today was great. I mean, the place was full to start the game. Then without the scoring and like being as close as it was at halftime, a lot of people left, but fans were great. Point three, offensively, you can't blame it all on Joe Fagnano.
I agree.
But I think the O-line didn't block like they have been to establish the run. That didn't happen. You ended up with 2 key injuries with Edwards and Skylar Bell. Hopefully they're okay. I mean, I know Bell went back in the first half, and then he sat second half. Hopefully it's just a minor tweak or an ankle or something. Yep. I don't know. Has there been any word on that? I don't know if you heard anything yet.
No, I haven't heard, and I mean I'll check Twitter as we talk here, but I haven't heard anything. Yeah, I'm with you, man. Like I said at the beginning of the stream that because I was talking to someone on Twitter because it was just like he said something like I'm sick of Joey, and I'm like, well, listen, if the offensive line starts the game and dominates Temple the way everyone else in college football has, then Joey is essentially going to get the opportunity to have play action, to hit Skylar Bell, to kind of get into some kind of rhythm. And he never had the opportunity to do that.
Yeah.
And I also
he never got in a rhythm today. That's exactly it.
Absolutely not. Like every throw that he had that had an opportunity for a big opportunity, with the exception of TJ Sheffield's play, was off by a little bit. The Skylar Bell, he had that kind of one-on-one where they set that up perfectly, and he was wide open. If he laid it out with some air, everything felt forced, like it was too quick, and it just felt like the timing was off. And it's just that was so frustrating to me. And I said to Greg, I said to everyone, like, the thing that frustrated me was I spent all week being like, I have FanDuel promos all day, and I was like, if you got this at -17, hit it. This Temple team can't move the ball. And then it was just like, how are they moving the ball? Like, even a little bit.
It was insane. The quarterback could run. I mean, where did that come from? I mean, maybe maybe it was just bad. I know Moore was saying like they didn't look at the tape against like Army and Navy, because obviously completely different offenses. But I don't know. Yeah, Temple was. I mean, you got to credit them. They came in hungry, right?
Sure.
They want to get another win. This probably was a biggish game for them, right?
Yeah.
And I don't know if maybe we came in a little too overconfident.
Probably.
But yeah, it was. It seemed as if like that first drive we had, we got the ball, we drove down the field, they stopped them and we had stopped on the 4th down, and then that was it. It was like after that, the offense wasn't clicking.
Greg, I don't know what the talk was on that first drive in the stadium, but as a fan watching the game, Cam Edwards got that first down. Like it wasn't even close.
Absolutely.
I was so pissed off that Jim Mora didn't go, no. We're going to call timeout right now.
Right.
And we're going to look at that because you guys totally screwed that up. And we're going to look at that play. And if anything, if you lose a challenge there, who cares?
Right.
But at least have the ability. This crew screwed up so many calls and took so much time.
Yeah.
Like trying to figure out like what they were doing.
Like we were talking about. We were talking about that too.
It's ridiculous.
Just the length of the game, right? Like there were so many stupid tic-tac penalties and flags, and but yeah, it was insane. I thought that first down should have been, the other way, and even at the end, the spot Temple had,
brutal.
But, I mean, like,
it was brutal, and I am obviously biased, but it was brutal both ways. I felt like, even like Temple that they had like a targeting call against them, and it was just like a bang bang play. It was just like, how do you do that? Like it bothers me. And this is one of the reasons why a win like this is important, but you never take these games for granted, because the better UConn gets, guess what happens? You get better officiating crews, you get better opportunities in larger conferences like we've talked about. We can't take these chances for granted. And we almost lost another one, like we lost against Duke, because we came out flat. And that's the thing that pisses me off about this team, which is super talented. And when they're locked in, can get things done. And so that's where I said right before you got on to Larry and Kyle, this is Jim Mora's dream. And if he is the coach that we think he is, and he's worth his salt, and he's worth the money that we pay him, he is going to take this week and say, oh, so you thought this week everyone thought you were the cat's meow, and you really kind of took a team that was 1-4 lightly, and they almost punched you in the mouth for 4 quarters.
Right.
If you do that next week against Wake Forest, they're going to blow you out by 40 points.
Yep.
And if they don't do it, that's exactly what's going to happen.
Yeah, they beat NC State today. I don't know if you saw it too.
I know.
Earlier. Yeah.
NC State's trash, by the way, too. ACC, I'm so out on the ACC. It is probably the worst power conference there is in football. So I'm telling you, right, Vanderbilt beat Alabama, too. I don't know if you saw that. Yep.
I saw they were up. I didn't know they won. Wow.
Yep. It's official.
My God. I also saw UAB got destroyed.
Oh, they got murdered.
Yeah.
Yep. Tulane scored 70 on them.
Wow. So,
I mean, listen. What do you think?
No, I think. Listen, we're still undefeated at home.
Yep.
But there's big questions this off week. Like, it's good you have an off week. Obviously, hopefully Skylar Bell and Cam are okay. Get them healthy. You have another week to get maybe Nick Evers healthy, depending on what they do there. Although Mora claimed he was healthy this week and practicing.
Yeah,
everyone
that's
knew
a little
Keanu
weird.
was going to start. It's a little weird, yeah. So maybe that hopes to kind of spark the offense. I don't love going back and forth with quarterbacks, but it is what it is. But
let me ask you a question. Yeah. What do you think that is? Like, do you think there's something weird about that with the whole, because we did a show, we had Joe Arruda on, who's the Hartford Courant beat reporter.
Yep.
And he told us that Jim Morris said, yeah, Nick is
I saw
fine.
his
He's
conference
practicing.
Yeah, he was out there doing stuff. Now I'm wondering if he was saying that just to kind of throw off maybe Temple's game plan, to prepare for the RPO, and then they're going to get Nick Evers, or sorry, Fignano. Although they tried to force Fignano to run a ton, which didn't work at all. And credit to Temple's defense, they were able to stop them up front. Especially with the quarterback. But yeah, I think it was a little bit of gamesmanship, perhaps. But hopefully we get the real story in the coming out of the bye week. What's going on, and we'll see. All
right. Well, listen. Get yourself home. Really appreciate you jumping on for a minute. I'm gonna drop off because this has been a wild day.
Oh my
I feel like it's been 24 hours of watching this game. It started at 3:30. It's almost 8 o'clock at night.
We got here at what time did we get here? 10:30 this morning. So it's been
you're about 12 hours. Yeah, you're about 12 hours a day.
It's been a day. Oh, thanks, Mark, for having us again. Talk to you soon. Go Huskies.
Absolutely, man, brother. Take care. All right, guys, we're going to close out the show. Really appreciate anyone that dropped in. What a win. 4-2, 29-20. If you bet on the game, I'm sorry that you lost some money, but the Huskies move on. If you are also, I'll just see you guys on Monday. I'm flabbergasted. I need to get jump off the stream. Love you guys. Go Huskies.